Good evening, and welcome to HBCU Delaware Talks. Thank you for allowing me to be in your living room again this year. One thing I would like to say too is that I appreciate you. So if I appreciate you, I will appreciate you through communication, also through education. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight we have a great show talking about a lot of things that are happening in the city of Wilmington, in our community, allowing our community to hear from us. I also would like to hear from other members of the community and talk about some of the things that you experience, some of the things that make you happy, some of the things that make you sad, some of the things that makes you great. What makes our city great? I also hear a lot of things about our town being a murder town, and hearing a lot of negativity about Wilmington. But for real, I've seen and heard a lot of positive things about Wilmington. It seems like the media sometimes overshadows the positive with negative. I think sometimes we use words and we turn the positive into negatives. There's a lot of successful people that are in our community, and I also know there's a lot of people who have been excluded from our community. So we'll talk about exclusion, inclusion, we'll talk about education, we'll talk about the mayor's race, the city council, what makes good members. Also, we'll talk about a little bit about the Jackson Street Boys Club. That's one of my big ideas. One of the big interests that I have is our Jackson Street Boys Club and how it turned out a lot of great people. And why is it closed? Why has it been closed? And how come it's not open now? If we could work together as a community, this boys club would have been open. It would not have ever closed down. So I need to find out why some of these issues are happening. Tonight I have a guest, very fine brother, Delaware State University graduate. I have heard of Delaware State University. That's the school right down the road, I understand. We're talking, his name is Lynn Church. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Well,
how are you, sir?
Well, how are you doing, Mr. Washington?
You know, if it gets any better, I'm not sure what I may do.
Oh, well, you never know what you can do when you're in front of a camera. Okay. The key is that you guys get me again. One of the things I'm going to say is this, and I want to put out a disclaimer. I want to put out the disclaimer here that I and most of you out there that have met me, you know that I'm a member of LAPA, and I am not on this show, and I am not here to represent LAPA. My opinions will be strictly of my own, and it has nothing to do with the staff here, LAPA, or any of its affiliates, or any of its so-called, I won't call them so-called, but any of its sponsors. And that being said, Mr. Washington, fire away.
Before I ever get started, I'm sorry, I normally go and have a little prayer. And so I thank God for allowing me, we to be here and allowing us to say things that are acceptable by you, Father. Also, thank you for travel emergencies, and thank you for giving us a hedge of protection. Continue to watch over us and keep us safe and out of harm's way. After this, in the name of Jesus, amen. So, as you can tell, this is live TV, so these type of things happen. I'm going to go to a break, and I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, I'll be just fine. Yeah. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Welcome back to the show, and thank you for allowing me, us, we to be in your living room this evening. Be mindful, HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities, and of course, we're always talking about education because education be the key we can move, especially in our community. I have two more guests on here. I'm going to let's allow them to introduce themselves. No strangers to television. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hey, thank you, Steve, for having me. I'm Brother Robert Bovell from Community Conversation.
And I'm Brother John Muhammad from the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Mosque number 35. I serve as Minister Robert Muhammad's youth minister on the youth ministry.
Oh, excellent. You know, I see a lot of issues that's going on in our community. First one I want to get to is that this murder town that they're calling Wilmington, and just to hear what you have to say regarding it as far as a moneymaker, as far as employment, as far as economic development. You know, what your feelings on it. And honestly, it's not murder town. It's just that hearts in this town have been murdered. That's what I want to say, because there's really not any murders. People, what we need to see is that inclusion, exclusion. The problem is that I see is that a lot of people are excluded. And when you exclude people, that means that it's hard for them to get employment. When you exclude people, that makes it hard for them to keep employment. When you exclude people, they don't feel like they're part of the process. So we need to basically turn that exclusion into an inclusion. If you think about the classroom setting, okay, we talk about special ed, we talk about regular ed, we talk about AP or college prep, we talk about honors. In a classroom setting, when they talk about special ed, they include the special ed with the regular ed, and they call that an inclusion classroom. But outside of the classroom, in the community, we say that people are included, but they're not. They're excluded. So if we conclude everybody in policies and decision making, everybody would be able to work together. You know, a lot of hearts have been murdered. Anything you'd like to say or add to that, Mr. Bovell?
Mr. Bovell, listen.
Brother Bovell.
You know what, Brother Washington? It's so much that we can say, and I know, speaking for myself, and I know how this brother feel, but just about our community as a whole, especially the black community. I know you said a lot in such a short time span, but what's very, very important, not only to our people, but to the listeners and to the viewers today is we suffer because of the word opportunity, and we haven't been given full opportunity. One thing that frustrates me about government, even when it comes to education, there's a lack of education even from the people who are in the political process who hold the same color that we hold to its very own people.
Wow.
If I or anyone on this panel per se was in any entity or structure of government, I believe that our kids who fight for education and fight to go to school to learn how to be presidents and vice presidents, CEOs and managers should be granted those opportunities for that.
Sure.
Such as, if you're going to allow big business in this city or in this state, if I was in that position, in order for your corporation or company to come here, 25% of the jobs that's going to be held is going to be held by minorities for manager positions, not sweepers, not somebody cleaning windows. When it comes to teachers and education, if you're going to come here by way of transit government, we want to make sure that we have a certain percentage of the teachers from Wilmington or from Newcastle, because these are what kids striving to go to school for, and that's what we stand for. So in order for us to wake up as a people, we got to learn to how to come together as a people. And one thing that we stand for, you know, we stand for boycotting against Black Friday and Christmas, but we enlighten our people. If you're going to spend your money in the community, spend it in the black community. If you're going to spend money on your people, spend it on your own people, not on the government's people.
Let me ask you, said something regarding boycott.
Yes, sir.
And you said boycott Black Friday.
Black Friday and Christmas.
But when I ask boycott, because don't be surprised, there's a lot of people in our community that may not know what boycott is. Can anyone expound or explain to me what a boycott really is, so people can see and get an idea?
Well, what I'll do is I'll make an attempt to make sure that the viewing audience out there gets an understanding of what it actually means. One of the key components to a boycott means unity. If you can come together as an entity for a particular reason and for a particular cause, then what that does, that galvanizes you to be able to get those individuals who do not hear your voice as clearly as you'd like to have them hear your voice, to be able to send an economic statement. And I'll say this to expound on something that I see, and I'll utilize this for example. The University of Missouri, some of you might have seen that or heard it. One of the things that they were able to do, and these were just they were just not only were they the football players, but they were also the students as well. What they were able to do was bring pressure upon the administration. And that's any administration. That could be city government, state government, county government, however it goes. But they brought their points to bear upon that administration. And what the administration recognized was that the individuals who were behind them, and this is very important that you know this, they're stakeholders, not stockholders, stakeholders. Your stakeholders are the ones that determine who's going to be your CEO, who's going to be your CFO, who's going to be your administrator, who's going to be whatever you have in that process. When you bring that economic prowess upon them, when you boycott, one of the things that the University of Missouri realized is that they make, mind you, for every football game, $20 million per game. Now, that president, I don't know what his salary was. I would be remiss to give you a number, but I can guarantee you that that salary, gentlemen, wasn't $20 million. And that's what we mean when we say boycott. It's the economics behind it. It'll change anybody's mindset when the money's there.
Sure. That's a problem right there, mindset. What I realized today in our community, a lot of our leadership and not just our leadership, a lot of people, they have a fixed mindset. And when you're talking about a mindset, we really need to change that fixed mindset into a growth mindset. Can you imagine it, or you could agree or disagree? I believe in this city there's a fixed mindset in a reactive city with a good old boy mentality. Instead of having a growth mindset, being proactive, including everyone. One of the problems I see is that we are not transparent enough. You know, when you have inclusion, you can be transparent. When you exclude, that means you're hiding. A young lady asked me, "Are you serving on any boards?" I'm like, "Well, when we think about boards, who's on the boards? It's a group of people. And guess what? That means that group is included, but the rest of the people are excluded. So how come we can't include our entire city in the decision-making process? You want to stop murders. You want to stop this. Educate folk. If you educate them, they can then what? Keep a job. I believe the reason why a lot of kids, what's going on with this murder is that because of the exclusion. When you exclude it in the classroom, it creates a pattern, you know? So I may use one of those homegrown adjectives because, you know, I grew up sometime in an urban set, you know, so I may use a homegrown adjective in the classroom as a child. And then if you don't know me, if you don't know my background or what I experienced at home, and that could be the language at home, I bring it to school and I use that language that I learned because it's a learned what? Behavior. So if I bring that language to school and use it, and I could be innocent, I may get put out of class, or I may be considered a behavior. And then what's what when you have bad behavior? You know, it's the connotation that they put on it. Bad behavior, because you're using profanity. So if I'm using that behavior, they're calling that bad behavior. Guess what? I'm out of class into timeout or U-turn. During that time, I'm missing a skill.
There we go.
Their lack of skills
Yes.
can kill and will. This is what's happening. Because I'm telling you, when you have skillful people, they tend to have a job. They tend to work on what their gift is. Because if you have skills, you can go a long way. Now, some of these folk that are out there killing, we got to pray for them. We have to pray, and I understand the families. We also have to understand that they have been excluded one way or another. You can agree or disagree. Go.
Brother Washington, if I could.
Yes, sir.
First of all, this is my first time on your show.
Thank you.
I
Welcome
thank
to the
God
show,
for allowing you to have a show such as this, and we're honored to be on your show.
Thank you.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that this problem that we're dealing with in Wilmington and other cities is a spiritual problem, and therefore it necessitates a spiritual solution. The scripture says, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge." What we don't read is the next verse that says, "And because thou hast rejected knowledge, I, God, will reject thee." We live in a world that rejects God. We live among a people who don't treat us right. And the minister said, any man that's not going to treat you right is not going to teach you right. We live under the shadow of death. We live in a land based on murder, thievery, robbery. When people talk about the youth, my answer to them is, well, the fruit don't fall too far from the tree. How dare you condemn your fruit? Your sperm produced this generation. Black woman, your womb produced this generation. Why are they so murderous? What is the spiritual look at this? Why is it that the #1 killer in the black community since 1954 is not AIDS, it's not cancer, it's not murders, but if you add all of those together, the #1 killer in our community is abortion. We kill more of our own in abortion clinics in this country than all the AIDS cases, all the murders, all the cancers put together. So in us is the germ for murder. So now we got a generation of cold, heartless young men and women who will kill you at 3 o'clock and go home and get on the PlayStation at 3:30. What made them like that?
Wow.
And why, God, are you allowing a generation that don't know Quran, don't know Bible, they don't know nothing but death and destruction? Wow. What is God's hand in this? I'm going to say in my little humble judgment, God has taken the children from the parent. He's taken the children from the preacher. He's taken the children from every part of the institution that used to control them. The home used to control them. The school used to control them. The church used to control them. But God today says, no, this is a generation born to settle a 400-year-old score. The parents, we don't see it. We say, oh my God, why are they so crazy? But they are born to deal with our enemy. They're just waiting for the voice of God. And until that voice comes, they will walk the streets of Wilmington. They'll walk on 28th, they'll walk on Market, they'll walk over on Lombard, waiting for a voice.
Sure.
And until that voice comes, they will murder each other. But when that voice of God hits their ear, then that one who was a murderer becomes the new Martin Luther King, becomes the new Malcolm X.
Wow.
We can't fear them.
That's right.
If we have the word, we go to them with the word and watch God raise them.
And you know, Brother Steve, I'm sorry not
That's
to
fine.
cut
No,
you
no.
off, but what Brother John that was said so important, when you extract the parent, when you extract the preacher and the teacher from the child's growth period or growing up from structure, and then his last thing he has to depend on is community, is outside that core.
Focus.
And then you have the kids relying on what they see that's plagued in their communities. And then when they see someone that looks just like us, who is not even talking the way they should be raised or how they raised, and they feed into this conspiracy of government saying, listen, you know what? I know that you guys don't have in your household, and I know you don't know where to go to school or what to learn, but you know what? I'm not willing to show you. And I say that to the politicians today. If you're not influxing these communities and grabbing them by the hand before it's too late, it's going to be too late. And that's when they build the saying, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we got more murders and kills in the middle of the day, in the daytime, than we had since we can remember when we were young.
Right,
and that's
right.
because they feel though nobody cares. And I'm going to say this in real short and sweet, just to our government. Anytime you allow people from Connecticut, Vermont, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland to do work in your own town, and you got young people who are crying for jobs, you got mothers and fathers looking for work, but you're going to get people from other states to come here and build our riverfront, build our buildings. What does that say to you as a government? And the last time I checked, government means you protect the body of people who surround your community. So every government is responsible for its own community, its own structure. And that's what we need to reinstill. And that's what I believe your mission and your passion is about. Re-educating our young people, these parents and these politicians, to give back to our own.
Beautiful.
And that's important.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, I feel
That's
I'm
okay.
fired up, but I am.
I love the passion. Woo, did you feel it?
Yes, sir.
If I can just add, my brother has on the DSU
Yes.
shirt. We just spoke at Dell State to the students there. They went strong to the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. There's a
Yes, they
cadre
did.
Sure.
of college students who are being awakened now. They're getting the education, but they're fearless. We have to harness that energy. We spend as a people over $1 trillion a year, which makes us in the top 10 of countries. So what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has asked us to do, as Brother Bovell has echoed, is on Black Friday. We want it to be black, all right. We're asking our people, hold your money.
That's right.
We have a precedent when Rosa Parks was refused to sit on the front. The people in Montgomery, the brothers and sisters, boycotted, and the city didn't think that they could do it. But this boycott lasted for a year, and it hurt them where it hurts the most, which is their money. If we hold our money, and we're trying to be disciplined enough to hold our money, we're not talking about food, clothing, and shelter, the basic necessities. We're saying the big ticket items. Let's hold your money, and let's give Christmas back to Jesus, and let's kick Santa out.
There you go.
Santa has taken the place of Jesus
That's
for
right,
far
Brother
too
John.
long. The college students are on board. Dell State, Morgan State, they are tweeting, they are texting, they are putting on Facebook. We're going to attempt, for the first time in our history, we've tried to march, we tried to sit in, we tried to fight, we've done it all, but collectively bring our monies together and say no.
Interested.
So whether you're Muslim, Christian, agnostic, Hebrew, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Whether you're white, if you agree with the movement, and if you agree that we're not getting justice, then hold your money. Because if we do it right, from the day after Thanksgiving to January 2nd or January 6th, everything will be $5.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's what it's
You know,
all
it's
about.
interesting that you said that. One of the reasons as to why I founded the HBCU Delaware Coalition Incorporated.
Praise
It's because
God.
we have so many college graduates that look like me, look like you, that are here in the city of Wilmington.
Wow.
And all over the country. And if I'm right, I think that the historically black college and university is the largest black business that black folks support. See, so one of the reasons why the HBCU Delaware Coalition is about in Delaware is we bring some of these people that are graduates from historically black colleges and universities out of their little corners or wherever they are making money and whatever they're doing, get back to the community. We don't need your money, we need your skill.
Wow.
See, because with the
Beautiful.
skill set,
Beautiful.
then kids, what they say, if you feed me a fish, I can eat for a day, but if you teach me how to fish, I can eat forever.
There you
So we want them to bring back the skills. It's hard bringing people together because one thing about us, our community, we will not work together. And if I don't like you, I won't support you. And that's not how it's supposed to be. I don't have to like you, but I have to support you because it's for the cause. And we have to get better as a community.
That's something I was just talking about on Sunday's show, is the fact that when you use the main thing you have when you're dealing in, as Brother Bovell was saying, is that one of the things that you recognize that you have power over is any politician when it comes to one thing you have, and that's your vote. You have to utilize that vote, not necessarily along party lines, guys. It's not party lines that get you out of the doldrum you're in. For example, I'll say this to you. Southern Baptists were Democrats. And if we don't remember, and some of you may not, Southern Baptists were Democrats. They were the ones who instituted the poll tax. They were the ones who instituted Can You Read? They were the ones who instituted your ability to get off the train in Texas and not be able to get back on the train until you got to Mississippi. The state of Louisiana said no. These are the kind of things that we're looking at, and I just say that for reasons of this. Not to hold the Democratic Party against anything other than the fact that, look, where we find ourselves today in this state is we find ourselves at the same place. And I'm not any party affiliate. I'm not going to go there. I vote my conscience. I vote for the best man or best woman that's going to do the job that suits my needs. And that's what I suggest that everybody does. But as I was saying before, one of the things you have to understand is the fact of this. You cannot vote for people because you like them.
Right.
Liking people only gets you the same government you had, or you have, or you're going to have. The fact is even if you don't like he or she, but if she stands or he stands for what you want, and you know what you want, and I don't know anybody out there that doesn't want more money in their pocket. That gives you economic power. And if it gives you economic power, that means that you can move anywhere on the third stone from the sun. Trust me, it's a good place if you get a chance to have the economic power to get out of this place. This place is not the world, it's the world you know. But what you need to do is get away from it. And the way you do that is you vote your conscience.
Sure.
Not party lines.
So
Mr.
that's
Wise.
it. Okay, I'm sorry.
My brother, that was excellent, brother. I was just marinating on what you said.
Yes, sir.
That was profound, profound. As a young brother, just watching us and watching history, when I look at black people and our relationship to society, it reminds me of the battered woman syndrome. You know, when you got a sister or family member that gets beat up by her boyfriend, and you go to defend her honor, and you deal with him, and then 2 days later she take him back, and he beats up again. After a while, you start saying there's something wrong with you here. Because if you continue to stay with a person who continues to mistreat you, it's almost like a crack addict who's constantly chasing that first hit. Once you get that first hit, you're constantly chasing for the rest of the night that hit. And a woman who really loves a man, when he begins to abuse her and she's asked, why are you still with him? She tends to say, well, because I know the good in him. I remember how it was when he used to treat me well. So she's hanging